Yeah, what's good, everybody?
Our Blaze here, Brokerage Podcast. You already know what's up. Today, we bring you the biggest interview we've ever had. Y'all ain't ready for this shit, because I'm your host, Roche Blaze, a.k.a. Roshan, a.k.a. Our Blaze, a.k.a. Our Blaze, because I'm a man of the people, not above but equal, a.k.a. White Girls. If you see me in the club, don't be afraid to bubble up, a.k.a. Papa Blaze, Father Jason, coming home real soon. Introduce yourself, homie.
I'm your co-host, Mr. Surreal, aka Arblaze, aka Broke Rich, hashtag Medium, hashtag VJ, and hashtag Campanelli. And that brings me into this segue for...
Y'all ain't ready. Rick Campanelli coming at you.
In the video form, because of COVID. So drop the motherfucking bomb.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Today, we have the god, Rick Campanelli, for an interview. You know the ones, I remember the days of me interning at ET Canada, the greatest guy you'll ever meet. He always showed me enough love. Remember, he gave me a DVD of Death Proof and Grindhouse on his last day. I always remember, I keep that thing near me all the time, man.
I forgot about that. That's right.
But yeah, I always praised you since then, man. You were always the nicest guy, and we're so glad to have you in for a little interview today, man.
It's my pleasure, guys. You know what it was? It was like you gotta spread the wealth. You gotta share what's given to you in life. Like you can't just take. You know that's not the way to do life. You gotta take. You receive and you give. You keep giving, give. So that's all that was. It's nothing.
Hey, man.
I'm grateful to help out.
And during 2020, we have a obviously pandemic. How you holding up during this pandemic, man? Like you said, you're being a father right now.
Good. I'm a homebody. I got little guys running around, and it's been great. When the lockdown kicked in full force, it was almost like I sort of like this simple life. Let's bring it back to the simple things in life. Like, how long have you guys been doing this for?
We've been doing this for about a year now, and we've been interviewing people all around Toronto.
Nice.
Yeah, we've been interviewing
Excellent.
local rappers. We've been interviewing basketball, collegiate basketball players, and we've used as a step up. And it's just like we've been trying to just shed the light on Toronto a little bit, shed the light on where we live, the street life, everything in between.
Yeah.
And we just been exploring all these different type of subject matters, and we have a little comedic outtake on it. So we just love doing this type of stuff when we get to talk to other people.
Good for you guys, man. Well, you can tell you're passionate about it and you're shining through.
Yeah.
Please tell me you've chatted with Master T's son, Khalif
No.
Young. He played with Providence.
Oh no.
And they're from Toronto, obviously, and now he's playing in Europe somewhere, I believe.
Master T's
You
son.
you've talked to basketball players at
Yeah.
the collegiate level. He went through the U.S. system, and he just graduated, just finished I guess it would have been last June.
Holy.
Oh,
But
wow.
if you get a chance in the
Khalif
future,
Young.
Khalif Young, up and coming Toronto basketball player. We'll see if he makes the NBA. We'll see.
Hey, I only hope
It's
to-
very possible.
I
It's very
used to work with
possible.
Master T
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to bring up. Back to your Much Music days. I got one big question for you. Are you bringing the cornrows back? Are you bringing the cornrows
Are you bringing it back?
That was tight. That was tight on the head back then. I don't know if I could do that again. I enjoyed it. You know what that was? That was Truth or Dare Tuesday, and with my co-host and I, Jennifer Hollett, we used to dare each other each Tuesday, and I got dared to sport the cornrows, and I enjoyed it. I go through life, with different looks, in different moods, and it's all about change and keeping fresh and not being too stagnant. For me, anyway, personally, and that's the way I like to live.
So back to the Rick the Temp days. What do you ever reminisce about the Rick the Temp days?
Oh my God, every day.
Yeah?
Every do I ever? Those were some magical times, guys. Like, I was just a kid, leaving university at the time. I graduated with phys ed. I thought I was going to be a teacher. I win a contest at Much Music.
Oh, wow.
That allows me to step into this world of music and music video and, nonstop artists and musicians and bands coming through the doors and interviewing them. So yeah, those years shaped me, and they helped me become who I am today. And I reminisce. There's not a day that goes by I don't think of something that I did back then, or someone's commenting on something that happened back then. But those were, from 94 to 2005, those were some pretty special years in my life.
And I was wondering, does it bother you that you still get referenced to as the temp? Considering, you've really graduated out of that position and blossomed, you know what I mean?
No, there are worse handles out there. The temp, I think it's got a nice ring to it. It's almost a term of endearment. There's the temp. No, you know what? I joke. I say to my friends, I on my grave site one day, it's gonna say, here lies the temp. But it's a good name. It's a good handle. My dad and mom were happy when I started bringing in my last name. The proud Italian parents that they are. Right? I started using Campanelli, and it's like, oh yeah, that's his last name. Everyone thought it was the temp, but no, it's something that's been a part of me, and I cherish everything that happened in those years, including the handle that I was given. So it's all good.
And you mentioned your Italian lineage, right? I remember at ET Canada, you do a lot of fundraising. You're a big philanthropist. Mention a lot about your philanthropy work, because I know you're big into that.
Well, yeah. Like I said at the beginning, like, we can't just receive and take in life. You got to give back and help those who need our help. Because if the roles were reversed, if we were in their shoes, we would want people to come assist us, to help us. One of the organizations that I've been doing work with, oh my gosh, since basically I started at Much Music in the 90s, has been World Vision. And, World Vision does amazing things around the world in underdeveloped countries. And it's been a beautiful opportunity for me to, give back in a way and travel with that organization and meet the people that they're helping, and all sorts of countries from, Cambodia to Tanzania, to Kenya, to Ecuador, all these countries where these communities and these people help desperately, we've traveled to. And World Vision does some amazing things, as you guys may or may not know. They've been around for years doing amazing things. So to align myself with an organization like that, it's been an honor. And every time they approach me asking if I want to help out with this event or this trip or this or that, it's almost like a no-brainer to me. And I know the good work that they do and continue to do. So I'll continue to say yes every time they approach.
That's what's up.
That's beautiful. I have a question. Yeah. It's not related though. It's
ask anything you want.
It's on the premise of Much Music. So what I was curious is, obviously during your Much Music days, you were able to be around, the music industry and as it was developing at that time. So if we look at pop music then and pop music now, has it been like a weird transition from you coming from those times where, it was more house music, the hip hop was a lot different back then. So how would you say that transition is?
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously now, being older, I'm 50 now. I've got 3 boys. It's a different lifestyle for me. My thumb isn't on the pulse of what's going on in music as your thumbs are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been out of that game for a long, long time. I was living it. I was breathing it when I was a teenager, and I couldn't get enough music. And it was totally different back then. Sure, we didn't have these devices. We didn't have music videos that we could download instantly from Vivo or YouTube or this or that. We had to wait around
LimeWire
to catch a music video or even just a song on the radio to hear.
Yeah.
So everything's so accessible, as we all know these days. Everything is right there at our fingertips when we want it, any time of the day. But back then, it was harder to get your hands on things. And I think that's that challenge or that excitement, the angst, you're excited, you're waiting for something. I was talking to someone about this today, about going into a record store, on the day when a CD came out or an album came out, and you had to wait for it for a long time, and then to get to touch the artwork and read the liner notes and flip through those pages and see the illustrations or the pictures that these artists had chosen. That was my world back then. I longed for those days. So another change too for me, and again, I'm not, the expert these days by far in the world of music. You guys are way more than I am, but it's there seems to be millions and millions of artists out there, and they're everywhere, which is amazing, because if you're passionate about something, you're going to want to do it. So that's why we're seeing all these artists creating and making music, which is a beautiful thing. Back when I was going through the whole world of music, and I'm talking like a long time ago, 70s, 80s, it didn't seem like we were as overwhelmed with this band, that band, artists, and every day there's new people coming to mind, which is, it's good to see. It's great to see, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot to keep track of.
And do you think that would, I'm sorry to interrupt, do you think that would make it like a lot more difficult for these new artists to break through as opposed to,
No doubt about it, for sure, because back in the day, it was the cream of the crop, I think you could say, and the record labels were hiring and signing those bands and artists on, and a lot got left by the wayside. And there were a lot back then, but not as many as there are today. And the whole record industry and approach to music has changed, as we all know. It's, those artists back in the 80s and 90s, they were living, in the early 2000s, they were living the high life. They were living the high life. I remember, interviewing bands, getting flown in, doing this. They're spending money as fast as it comes in. It's coming in fast. They're spending it fast. There was money to go around. Yeah. For a lot of artists. And a lot of artists became very, very wealthy in a matter of a short time. You don't see a lot of that action these days. You see a lot more struggling artists. And artists that are still trying to make it up there. Back then, it seemed like they were everywhere, because there was a lot. And I'm not an expert in the whole record industry world too, but back then I think there was a lot more money to go around. They were making a lot more money. That's my theory on things.
I feel like the stakes were just probably a bit more higher. You know what I mean? I've heard like sometimes $20,000 would go out just for, to send out an advertising bus. You know what I mean? And that's just right. Local advertising. Right.
Well, you remember how much music videos used to cost.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I remember Hype Williams, the most amazing video director of all time.
Yeah.
How much he used to spend on music videos. It was mind-blowing back in the day that we were introducing these videos. So, and I think that's all changed too, right? Spending, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if music directors and music video productions are spending that much on music videos these days. I don't know. That latest, that Drake video is pretty sweet, getting all those, sports athletes and hanging out at the Nike headquarters in Oregon. So, again, my thumb is off the pulse of what's going on. You guys probably know way more than me.
So, father of three, what's being listened to at your house? Well, and it's like, turn that music off.
Well, when we're not listening to, all the kids shows, because it's mostly kids shows. No, I've got everything going on. I like it all. I like different genres. I like all genres. One day I'll wake up, I'm in a jazz mood,
Of course.
The next day I'll wake up, I want to hear something from the 80s.
Yeah.
And even as far back as the 20s and 30s and 40s, but I'm all over the place. I've got everything. I've got everything on go-to, and whenever I wake up feeling a certain way, I'll put on that
hear you.
Feel of music for me. But I never like even country music, and I'm serious. I used to that wasn't my thing back in the day. But I
We
like
all,
this
yeah.
song.
You grow into it.
I was listening to John Denver today, my guy.
John Denver today.
Yeah, I was listening to John Denver today. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
John Denver, he's a legend.
He's a legend. I just found out about him a few days ago. But
But see, that's awesome, and that's the beauty of music. You know, the younger generations will find out about music that was big back in the day, and they'll be introduced to this wonderful world of this artist and going down that rabbit hole, I guess you can say, right? So, yeah.
and you
know
mentioned,
who the Beatles are.
oh, of course. Oh, there's that guy. Yeah,
I'm just so
that one guy. But yeah, you mentioned working with.
Yeah, but you never know if the young ones who know who they are. You know, I'm sure.
Oh.
I hope they do because of their
It's
parents
iconic.
or their older siblings. But you never know, right? And the Beatles are probably one of the most influential bands of all time.
Yeah,
You know,
so
what they did.
like you mentioned working with Master T earlier, and you were pretty much there for the booming of Toronto hip hop, and like coming up during those times, like
Yeah,
how influential was that to
exciting
your
see that.
yeah.
Exciting to see that movement, especially in Toronto, because there's so many amazing, energetic hip hop stars back in the 80s and 90s. One that I still love and listen to this day, Maestro.
Maestro, Fresh West.
was an innovator.
Yeah.
He led the way, Maestro, along with all those other guys that they were hanging out with.
Shot
It
clear.
was a nice
yeah.
movement to be part of, and I also had the honor too when Master T called in sick, or if he couldn't make one of his shows, I would fill in, which was a treat because the Black Eyed Peas would come in, or Shot Claire would come in,
out.
or Cardinal Official would come in. It was great just hanging out with these artists and getting to know them back in the day when they were first starting and when I was first starting, and to see their rise and to see how far they've come. But I go back to Maestro, Fresh West. Like, I was a teenager when Let Your Backbone Slide
Yeah, man.
came out, and all his other hits from the 80s, and he was like, wait a minute, this guy's from our backyard? He's from Toronto? That's so cool.
Yeah.
Because at the time, most hip-hop artists that were big and that we were into were American, either New York, LA, those two hot spots. But to have hip-hop artists finally coming out of our own backyard, Toronto, the area, that was especially cool.
Yeah.
I have an unrelated question. I'm the master of that.
Yeah. I like unrelated questions.
I was wondering, so I did go through your Instagram briefly. I see you're doing a lot of cooking. So I wanted to know,
Yeah.
obviously now nobody's,
Thanks to COVID.
yeah, a lot of people are tending to do that or taking takeout. So what's your go-to restaurant in the city of Toronto?
Well, okay.
I know
so
it's a tough
as you
one. I
guys
want your
know,
number one though. Like, you're on the road, you're hungry, you
want-
need to eat now.
Well, I would go to Cafe Diplomatico all the time on College in Little Italy. That was my go-to. And the chicken parmigiana was unlike any other. I hung out at that place. I love that place. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but I moved out of Toronto just a few years ago.
Yeah.
To get closer to my dad here in the Hamilton area, so I'm in Burlington. But whenever I'm in Toronto, here and there, doing odd jobs or meeting friends, I gotta go by a Cafe Dip. That's my spot. I loved it. I still do.
Jeez.
But there's so many amazing restaurants, as you
Of
guys
course,
know.
of course,
Toronto.
of course.
Holy man.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Thousands.
there's a bunch popping up with, COVID, everybody's doing ghost kitchens and all of that, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's been a little bit
See, the
frustrating.
thing-
I believe we're going into the red zone tomorrow. So everything's probably going to be shut down, locked down again,
I know.
unfortunately.
You guys are. That's right.
Yeah.
And it's so important at this time during lockdown and red zone, and the states that we're going into to support these local restaurants, because I'm sure a lot of them are still offering takeout. They might be closed inside, but to help support, especially the smaller restaurants,
Yeah,
the
especially.
independent ones, that because we've seen so many that have had to close their doors permanently, which is quite sad. And Toronto is known for, the melting pot of all sorts of different types of cultures and restaurants and foods, and it's one of those cities that you can be in and have a food from a different culture for months straight. It's the best. It really is the best. So to get out there and support those local small restaurants is key right now, because we don't want to see them go away. We want to have them open up and flourish again one day, you know?
Yeah, eventually, especially gyms too. I don't personally see why gyms should be closed, if you ask me, because a lot of people usually they do sanitize their equipment.
They do. Yeah, see, I've stayed away from the gym even before COVID. I got a little late.
New Year's resolution, don't worry, you got
I
time.
got a little gym downstairs. I do push-ups and sit-ups, and basically, that's all it takes. Like Doc Rivers, right? Doc Rivers wakes up in the morning. He'll push out some push-ups, push out some sit-ups. We're ready to rock and roll. We don't need no gym. We got our gym. Our gym's right here at the floor.
It's right here.
Semi-related. Are you afraid of the vaccine? There's a lot of conspiracies going on. You know, with the chips and, you got Elon Musk with the brain chip stuff, you know what I mean? So is that something that concerns you?
I do know all about that stuff, and it is very disheartening. You're concerned, of course, but as of this point, I would get the vaccine. I would get the vaccine.
I 100% recommend it, but just all these conspiracy theories floating around, you know what I mean? It's just...
For sure. You don't know what to believe. Right.
At the end of the day, not really. I mean, there's so many false news. Things are getting filtered and censored. I'm not sure if you're seeing on Twitter, things are getting more and more censored. Do you think we're starting to move more towards a censored reality now that everybody's starting to get more online and get engaged? You're even seeing a lot of, I'm sorry to interrupt, you're even starting to see older individuals now, before my grandma didn't even know how to use a touch phone, and now it's let me get on Facebook. Let me message you these weird messages, did you eat?
Yeah, they're reeling everybody in right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Insert the chip, yeah. No, this is a great question, and this is a great topic to talk about, and we know it's coming because we know that Big Brother wants to have control over all of us. So, yeah, it really raises that question and makes you think about if you are volunteering your body to have something injected in you, what exactly is going in you? Because we don't know. We're just the subjects. We're not these scientists that are putting these things together, that are working alongside the governments. So this is a brilliant question, and it's a great conversation piece. It's scary on one side, and it's exciting on the other side. If you know what I'm talking about. It's a bit of both.
I could see that with on the anticipation aspect. You know what I mean? I believe right now in the I guess I refer to it as the rat race. That's what they want to refer to it as. When we're talking about other countries competing to get the vaccine first. I believe right now, I think the States is in the lead, and they said they got something, I think, brewing up for November.
Is that the Pfizer one? The Pfizer vaccine?
Yeah, I think it was the Pfizer, yeah. I think it was 90% or 95% effective.
95 or up there, which is amazing.
But I've heard somebody died from that vaccine. That's why I'm kind of on the fence here. Yeah, somebody has passed away. Right? Yeah, during human trials.
So, I hope. That's a scary thing too, because
that's what I'm saying.
You have to test the vaccine on humans.
Yeah.
If humans are going to be taking it eventually, you got it. Someone's got to be that person that tests it. So I didn't hear about that. That's
it didn't survive the internet long, obviously, right? But yeah, I caught wind of that because I like to watch the markets because with the elections going on, so I'm keeping track of the markets and seeing all these beautiful promises. Oh yeah.
That's what's up.
Shout out to Canada.
That's what's up.
I love that maple leaf.
Keep climbing.
Keep going up. But yeah, I'm watching the elections. I'm keeping myself informed, and yeah, I did happen to come across that. So that's why I'm kind of what? Yeah. What's going on in there?
It's a great question that you bring up, and something that we really have to consider seriously. And once it's ready, will we actually put it in our bodies? Yeah, it's
follow that up,
it's a serious subject matter, and it's one that we really have to think about.
I've an interesting follow up to that. I don't know if you've kept up with like the COVID progression in China and Thailand. So you're seeing now they're doing concerts in like the millions. It's crazy. I don't know if you've seen how packed it is. It was like DMX showed up back in like the 2000s. It was nuts. Apparently they have 0 cases though. So do you think that either we'll get to that level, or do you think we're just gonna adapt? Because again, me being on social media, I'm seeing these weird spacesuits that people are building, or I don't know if you've seen the concert in bubbles in the States as well that they're doing. So do you think we're gonna accept the vaccine or adapt? It's a tough one, I know. I feel like we're gonna adapt first, to be honest.
These are great questions. I do think everything's gonna get back to a somewhat of a normal state, what we remember it being. I really do, and I'm pretty optimistic about that, and I think many people are. We have to do what we have to do right now in order to get through this and combat this, and hopefully with this proper vaccine, one that really works, we're going to be able to get back to where we were. Because listen, I miss going to see live concerts. I'm sure you guys do. I miss going to see live sporting events. I was at them all the time. It's just not the same. And those are big businesses. And I'm sure we're going to get back there someday.
I mean, hey, they're having fun. They're still going to make it quarantine, but they're having fun out there. And China, too. So, I mean, that it's a consideration if you really want. But
people need to have fun. In these desperate and scary and negative times, we need to smile. We need to laugh. We need to have fun. So I like that that's happening,
I mean, hey, hopefully there's no asymptomatic things going on. You know what I mean? And everybody's all good. As long as they're... Yeah. I can't even say they're taking precautions because they're not at all.
So when this thing is done, the moment it's done, where are you traveling to? The first place you're traveling to?
I'm taking my dad and we're going to Italy.
Italy? Where in Italy?
We're going to where his family is, where my family is. We're going to go to the East Coast on the Adriatic Sea. It's a little town called Montecchio. Near the beach towns of Cattolica, Rimini, and Riccione. We were there last September. We were there just over a year ago, and I wanted to take him back every year. And of course, COVID kicked in, and we weren't allowed to travel, obviously. Or we didn't want to take our chances, but as soon as this is all said and done and the COVID dust settles, to Italia we go.
I'm telling you, the best place I've ever been to is Italy. I stayed in Urbania in Bologna.
Yeah.
I had the best. Oh, for real, eh?
Beautiful area.
Yeah, I had the best carbonara ever. I still think about to this day. It was amazing.
The best.
The best.
You can have 3 meals a day for weeks, and every meal will taste the most delicious, more delicious than the previous. It's something about the food in Italy.
It's not like I had to go to a restaurant. Yeah, I didn't even have to go to a fancy restaurant. I just found a back street somewhere, and it was just a dish down there. And it was life-changing. I still think about it 2 years later.
Roshan, it's those places, those mom and pop places that are the absolute best, because they're not going to charge you an arm and leg.
Nah.
If you go into the tourist traps, they charge you an arm and leg. The food isn't as good. You go down those side streets and then back and to the left and keep going forward down there a bit more. Those are the best spots.
And they always give you limoncello with every meal. I'm like, enough.
I love it.
Try to get me drunk.
In my freezer right now. I'm going to have a shot.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's awesome. Did you have a good time in Italy, aside from the food?
Yeah, so I was doing a little internship down there where I had to shoot for the colleges down there. So they paid for the house and everything. And
that's amazing.
It was by the hills in the countryside. The best experience I've ever had. It's
picturesque.
It's picturesque.
It really is picturesque.
Really, like goats everywhere, roosters, like the typical life. That's a life I could get used to when I retire.
Yeah.
In the hills of Italy, yeah.
No stress.
And people are so nice. I wasn't expecting the people to be so nice, but even though there was a language barrier, people still wanted to welcome me inside their home and stuff, which is amazing. Great.
Did you pick up the language when you were there? Maybe.
I know how to say, where's the washroom? Dove il bagno? Where's the love? Dove l'amore?
Where's the love. Yeah,
Dove l'amore.
Yeah, the more you spend time there, the more you're gonna pick it up. So you have to go back.
I want to take Duolingo and just learn
Literally.
just learn all the
Yes.
language. It's beautiful. Beautiful
Yes.
language, man.
Yeah, it is. It's not that difficult either once you get the basics down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah, man. Honestly, Rick, we taken up enough of your time. And
Good.
I just want to say thank you so much, man. Means a lot to me from ET days, man. Always messed with you. Nicest guy I've ever known, man. Thank you so much for this.
Rick, it has been such a
it's
pleasure.
Good to have you there, and I appreciated, and I appreciated every intern that came through those doors. I know the time there wasn't a long time for all the interns, and there's been maybe hundreds, and I've been gone for 3 years, but each and every intern that came through was hardworking, was dedicated, was there to learn, and of course you were one of them, and I hope you learned something from that time, and of course you have, because look at you, you're traveling to Italy, you're working in Italy, you're doing a podcast, you've learned some things along the way, but thank you for doing your thing back then and to this day.
And one last thing, if you had a saying to say to anybody out there, we're gonna put this on screen on a virtual wall. What do you gotta say? It's gonna be implanted there forever, man.
Okay, I would say what my dad says, and he tells me this. He says, "Listen, you only live once. Once is all we need if you do it the right way. Go out there, get what you want, live it right, be good to people. We only live once, but if we do it the right way, once is all you need."
And bang. Thank you so much, Rick Campanelli, the God.
All right, guys.
All right, man. Pleasure.
Thanks spending time with you guys, okay? Stay safe and stay healthy out there.
You too, man.
All right, guys.
Later.
Take care.
Thank you.
And there you have it. Broke Rich done made history, yo. The brand is motherfucking strong. We like to thank the one and only God, Rick Campanelli. Thank you for coming on the show. Everything he has, including the foundation, will be down below. Hit us up. You know where to find us.
And we appreciate everybody who shows up to Brokerage. No shade.
Nah, that's all shade, homie. Fuck with us.